Welcome to another heavy equipment video review. Today we are going to review the BeneFusion SP3 Vet. This pump is specifically designed for the veterinary market. It's pretty interesting. It's a little bit more rugged compared to the SP5. Has some less features. It has a monochrome LCD screen compared to the color LCD screen of the SP5. Has this pretty good handle. It looks a little bit more rugged. There are some more instruction here. There is a pole clamp, so these fittings for the pole clamp, which is included in the box. There is an optional advanced pole clamp, which is a little bit more fancy, but that's actually optional. So we have the buttons here, the LCD here, and then we have the clamp here, the slider. It's a pretty simple pump. It's pretty easy to use. On the back we have, as you can see, we have this this universal socket, so we can use very common and easy to find power cords. There is an RS222 port here, which can either be used with a DC. So it can be used to power the pump with DC current, or we can use it to connect the pump to the to other Mindray interfaces. Here on the front, we can turn on the pump. So as you see, the screen is pretty bright. I will change the contrast settings in a sec. It performed I don't know if you noticed at the beginning, but it performed a self-test as on the SP5. We have this warning light, which is pretty similar to, actually, I believe it's actually the same shape of the SP5 one. Obviously, it's telling us that there is no AC power, and we know that it's not connected. It's the light of the battery is blinking. In fact, we can silence that alarm, which is pretty handy. So as on the SP5, we have some instructions on how to install a syringe, which is pretty handy. We have some more information here, which is pretty good too. So perfect, very easy to use. So here it's selecting the syringe, so we can we have, obviously this still has the cover. Is a brand new pump, just came out of the box. So we can use the drug library here, and that's pretty handy. So let's go in the menu and turn down the brightness, because this is too bright for making a video. Perfect. So going back, so here we have a rate mode. We can actually change that here in the menu. So we have rate mode, time mode, body weight mode. So that's pretty handy. We have all these basic settings, which are perfect for us in the veterinary field. So here we can select the drug unit of measure. So we have, let's say we want to use fentanyl. and we have a dose rate of let's do 5 microgram per kilogram per hour, but we can change it on obviously it's going to be out of range if we go like on milligram per kilogram, obviously. So 5 microgram per kilogram per hour, and then we press start, and the pump is infusing. So here it's telling us how much pressure we have in the line. We have the concentration of the drug, 50 microgram per ml, and we are giving a 5 microgram per kilogram per hour infusion, and so the rate is obviously is calculated and is 2 ml per hour. So if we stop, it goes in the pause mode, so it's similar to what's on the SP5. We can press clear and modify parameters. We can press start again and restart the infusion, and with clear obviously we modify the parameters. If we want to give a bolus, we select the bolus rate, and then we can select how many mLs we want, and then we can press this button to auto bolus, or we can press this button and give a manual bolus. But yeah, if we want to give an auto bolus, you just press that. Okay, and is auto bolusing the volume that we selected. So that's pretty. And here is telling us obviously the volume that has been infused so far. So this is pretty good. Perfect. So if we stop and we go on the menu, we have as we say, rate mode, time mode, body weight mode, which is the one that we just used. We have general options with the keep vein open rate. So perfect. And we have the drug library. As we've seen at the beginning, it has to ask which kind of drug are we using, and that's because if we actually look on the top of the screen, there is the label, so we can actually label the search driver, and if we use more than one, obviously we know just looking at the screen which one is which is pretty handy. But if we want, we can actually turn off the drug library and the pump won't bother asking. We have the weight unit, we have the occlusion pressure that we can select, so low, high is 900 millimeters of mercury, 525 for the medium, and low for 300. The unit of pressure, obviously we can change it in kilopascal, bar, millimeters of mercury, psi, so that's pretty good. And we have an auto lock time as on the SP5, so we can select after how long we want the pump to auto lock. We can select after how long we want the pump to remind us that is inactive, which is pretty good. And then we have how long do we want the pump to alarm before the infusion ends, so that's pretty good. We can select which kind of syringes we more commonly use, so if we don't use some of these brands, we can just delete them. We have obviously we can change some of the messages is showing at the beginning when we turn on the pump. The system option, we can change the sound, we can change the volume, the brightness as we did before, the system date and time, the language, and we have some more information regarding the pump here in the version information. Then we have the history record, which is pretty good, as we have in the SP5. It's telling us obviously whatever happened with the pump, so we can always keep track of what's actually happened before. We have nurse call, which obviously we don't use in veterinary medicine. So actually, so we can turn it off and on, and we can select the type of signal, and so when it's pretty cool. So basically, when if you actually move the syringe, then it will basically alarm. That's why there is a nurse call basically. Anyway, night mode, as in the SP5, we can select time interval in which the pump is in night mode. So if it's pretty handy if we use it in a ICU setting where we during night time we don't need all the brightness that we may need during the day. Wireless settings, obviously this pump doesn't have a wireless module, or maybe but you may buy one and with a Wi-Fi module, and then obviously it interface to the whole Mindray BeneFusion ecosystem, which is pretty good. And then we have system maintenance, but obviously we don't have the codes for that, so I can show you that. What do you think of this pump? I think it's very rugged. It's easy to carry around. It has this handle which makes our life easier. Even if you go in a field, maybe you're doing some horse anesthesia in a field, and you want some CRI infusion given with a syringe driver, you can easily carry it around, or if you are a freelance anesthesiologist, that's pretty handy to carry around. The pump is pretty rugged. It looks really solid and robust. I think that's definitely a pro. It's smaller than other pumps of this kind. I mean, it's the same length, but obviously, if we keep in account that there is a handle which we don't have in other pumps, like NLRS, those are bigger, and then with this pump you actually get the handle which you don't have on the LRS. So I think it's a pretty good option for the veterinary market. I think it's something that's pretty interesting. It's a little bit more basic compared to the SP5, but it still has all the features that we may want in veterinary medicine. We're not sometimes we're not that fancy. So I think it's a very good pump to start with, and I would definitely suggest this pump to a veterinarian colleague. So I think that's pretty much all for today. Don't forget to subscribe our YouTube channel, and thank you for watching.